Hey guys, today we're continuing with our story of my breaking in. We're on page 26. Listen for the code word today. So as you can see in our picture at the top, we have a horse's hoof and a hammer and a nail and a shoe. That kind of gives us some clues of what might be happening next. So when we left off, Beauty was learning to be ridden and to draw a carriage. The next unpleasant business was putting on the iron shoes. And I'm going to highlight unpleasant business because that lets us know it wasn't something he enjoyed. That too was very hard at first. My master went with me to the smith's forge to see that I was not hurt or got any fright. The blacksmith took my feet in his hand, one after the other, and cut away some of the hoof. It did not pain me, so I stood still on 3 legs till he had done them all. Then he took a piece of iron the shape of my foot and clapped it on. Next he drove some nails through the shoe quite into my hoof, so the shoe was firmly on. My feet felt very stiff and heavy, but in time I got used to it. And now, having got so far, my master went on to break me to the harness. There were more new things to wear. First, a stiff, heavy collar just on my neck, and a bridle with great side pieces against my eyes called blinkers. And blinkers indeed they were, for I could not see on either side, but only straight in front of me. Next, there was a small saddle with a nasty stiff strap that went right under my tail. That was the crupper. I like this here because it's a definition. We have the crupper, and it tells us exactly what a crupper was. So that was a nice example of giving us a definition in the story. I hated the crupper. To have my long tail doubled up and poked through that strap was almost as bad as the bit. I was comparing it back to that bit. I never felt more like kicking, but of course I could not kick such a good master. And so in time, I got used to everything and could do my work as well as my mother. And we have that nice picture at the bottom of him being driven, or him driving the cart rather. So you can see all these pieces we've talked about, the bit and the bridle, croupers back here under his tail, the harness, or no, the crupper, yeah, and the collar. Collar's here around his neck. It holds the cart in place and on his body. I must not forget to mention one part of my training which I have always considered a great advantage. This sounds important to note, friends, because everything else has not been so great, but this, he says, is a great advantage. My master sent me for a fortnight to a neighboring farmer's who had a meadow which was skirted on one side by the railway. I shall never forget the first time the train went by. Oh, how do you guys think he reacted? Look at that picture. That first time the train went by. I bet it scared the bejeebies out of him. I was feeding quietly near the pales which separated the meadow from the railway when I heard a strange sound in the distance. Before I knew whence it came, with a rush and a clatter and a puffing of smoke, a long black train of something flew by. It was gone almost before I could draw my breath. I turned and galloped to the further side of the meadow as fast as I could go. There I stood snorting with astonishment and fear. So there we do have how he felt and what his actions were. Because the train came by and scared him, he ran off snorting with astonishment and fear. Page 29, code word happy. For the first few days, I could not feed in peace. But as I found this terrible creature never came into the field or did me any harm, I began to disregard it. So for a while, he still kind of stayed scared it would come and hurt him, but eventually he disregarded it. He ignored it. Very soon I cared as little about the passing of a train as the cows and sheep did. Since then, I have seen many horses much alarmed and restive at the sight or sound of a steam engine. Thanks to my good master's care, I'm as fearless at railway stations as in my own stable. So that's a nice little ending to our story because it lets us know that he feels the same about the train coming by now as he feels when he's in his stable. And in his stable, I'm sure he's nice and cozy. So if we flip back real quick, we didn't have a lot of notes. We kind of highlighted the ideas that were important. But we want to go back and look real quick at anything that might have been key details. So we have that he learned to have his feet. I would say this is key detail number 1. Having his feet trimmed. And I know we talked in my class the other day about the fact that this is a different kind of summary because it's not as much telling a story as kind of the steps of which a horse goes through to be broke in and be trained. So when we're summarizing, it's not about something and what happened and the climax of a story and then how it ended in resolution. It's more about the steps of which Black Beauty went through in order to be broken in. And then we have down here he wore the harness. And we have some really good ordering words. First, next. And then I like over on the next page that we have right here. Soon he was doing the work as well as his mother. So everything began to be okay and kind of a new normal for him. And then the story kind of ends with him learning to not be afraid of the train. So the train alarmed him, loud noises alarmed him. These were new things that were introduced to him. I don't think we have a key detail here, something that was important to learn, but we do have it ending with how at the end he overcame his fear of the steam engine and felt safe in his own stable. So remember the code word. I said it kind of smoothly as we started one of our pages. Write that down and let us know in a private chat. And then make sure you've caught up with your notes because we're going to get ready to summarize this story together today because it is a little different. So we'll do it together in class. See you guys in just a little bit.